I've always been jealous of VST instrument keyboard players, you know, those that use Mainstage or Gig Performer. And I've always been jealous that they can do things with foot controllers that we just can't do with hardware. But it turns out that we can in fact do it with hardware. And today I'm going to show you how we can change scenes on a MODX using a fairly inexpensive foot controller. Let's see what that looks like. So you can see that as I press each of the foot switches, you'll notice that it goes through each of the scenes that I have set. Now, I'm only doing it for 4. It does work for 8. I'll show you how that works. I'm doing this on the MODX M. I know it works on the MODX Plus. I have an old one back there. I haven't tested it on the MODX first version, but I can't see why that wouldn't work. Okay, let's find out how this works. This is all based on an article that Yamaha have on their support site, yamahasynth.com. And if we read through that, you can see that it's dependent on MIDI CC messages. What does CC stand for? Is it continuous controller? Which doesn't seem to make sense in this context, but you'll see how that's set up here. So the CC message in question over MIDI is CC92. Okay, that's what makes the magic happen. And if you send a MIDI message to the MODX for anything between the values of 0 and 15, that will set the first, or select the first scene. So what that means is if I chose the value 10, that would work to select the first scene because it's between 0 and 15. I could choose 7. It would still work because it's between 0 and 15. You'll see how this actually works with the unit in a moment. So if it's a little bit nebulous, just stick around for a little longer. If I want to select scene 2, then I need to send on that same CC, that same MIDI message, CC92, I need to send a value of something between 60 and 31. Again, any value between 16 and 31 will do, whether it's a 16 or a 31 or a 20 or a 15. You send that message on CC92 and it will select scene 2. Finally, just to make sure it landed, if you want to select scene 3, then you need to send the values of 32, something between 32 and 47 on that same CC92, and it will select scene 3. So again, any single value between 32 and 47 will work. Okay. Now, before we go to how we set that on this particular unit, I should tell you what this unit is. It's the everybody who does this on YouTube does the thing I'm about to do. I do not know how to pronounce this. Is it Hot One? Is it Hot Tone? Everybody does it. I've just done it. I'm going to go with Hot One. I don't know. I like it. And you can see it has 4 switches on it. And on the back, do we get that? Hopefully we do. On the back, you can see that it has a power adapter plugged in. And I'm just using a Boss guitar pedal adapter for this, and it's working fine. And I've also got it plugged in using old school 15 5-pin MIDI. Now you'll notice it has USB on it, and it does do MIDI over USB, and it powers that way as well, right? So in theory, you would have a single cable approach to this, but for the life of me, I cannot make it work. Your mileage may vary, and if you could make it work, please let me know. But in the meantime, I can't make it work, so I'm stuck. Maybe you're stuck, maybe, with having both power and a MIDI cable. It's also got a MIDI in. We won't talk about that, except to say you could use it to merge or stack these or daisy chain more of these Hot One units, and that would give you more than 4 switches, right? It's one way to do it. I don't know if I would do it that way, but there's another way and I'm going to show you. And there are two other inputs, and these are to add additional foot switches to this unit. Now this is the official switch, I think, like from Ampero, but it will work, I imagine. I haven't tested it, I gotta be honest, with most foot switches if you have them lying around. And I've got a problem with this switch, something I don't like, which I'll mention in a moment. Just for reference, if you want, each of these actually takes 2 pedals, will allow control by 2 pedals. So as long as you're using a TRS plug, so you know one that's got 3 bits on it, tip, ring, and sleeve, then if I plug this in here and I plug this in here, that gives me 2 extra pedals in one other hole, which means I can have 4 if I fully expand this out, which gives me 8, and in theory you could use those 8 to control all 8. I'm not doing that. But anyway, it's plugged in now, we might as well leave it in. Now, how do we set up this unit to send the messages that we needed to send? I'm glad you asked. And for this, we go to our trusty iPad. So I'm not going to show you how to download this app, but it's an app in the App Store. I'm only using it on an iPad. I don't know if it's on Android. Go have a look. And the first thing you're greeted with is this registration screen. I don't know what the benefit is. I don't do it. I've never done it. So I'm just going to skip that. Anyway, it starts searching for the unit, which is great. And all I have to do is hit down foot switches 2 and 3 to make it find it. There we go. Fantastic. And now we're on. I'm going to select my Ampero control. Oh, it's called the Ampero control. I got stuck on the whole Hot One thing. Yeah, it's the Hot One Ampero control. Go check it out. I can't remember how much I paid for this, but I'll put a price on the screen. Did I say that already? I hope not. I'll put it on the screen again anyway. So now that I've selected my Ampero control, I'm going to select connect to the selected device, which we will do. What we really need is music to wait for your iPad by. Do 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 do. Come on! Oh, a watch kettle really never does boil. Ah, there we go. Fantastic. So I've already got this preset up. Yeah, I know it's better if I go through the whole thing from scratch, but you'll still get the full juice out of it. Okay, so how have we set this up? Huh. Okay, so as you can see, each of these individual items, foot switch 1, foot switch 2, foot switch 2, foot switch 3, foot switch 4 have been set up, and I've set up a couple of extras, right, using that additional input. But let's just go with foot switch 1, okay? I already have it set up, but let's have a look at that setup. I've got it in momentary mode. Maybe that's important to see, yeah? And you can see that for each you have a group A and group B. I don't know exactly what these are for. So I've only got group A set up for this. And if I select it to check out our setup, you can see that I've got it set up on a channel, channel 16. Now, I just happen to have it set on channel 16. Maybe I should have had it on channel 1 if I wanted to leave this on channel 1. You'll talk about why that matters in a moment. Okay, so this is a note from Paul in the future. I missed something. I'm going to squeeze it in now. You just need to make sure that the channel that you've set your MODX to is commensurate with what you've set it on the app for the Hot One. Let's have a look at that. Okay, that should work. So you should be able to see that I've put the MIDI in out to MIDI. Remember, I'm using old school 5-pin DIN MIDI. And you'll see that I sent the MIDI IO, set the MIDI IO to channel 16, which is in line with the example that I gave on the iPad. Okay, that should be it. Back to the video. What type of message are you sending? Now you can see the options are a PC, which is like a program change, or a CC. Remember, we want a CC, so that's what we'll select. And you could send a note on and a note off, which we won't do, but gee, I could see why that would be handy for other use cases. Anyway, it's on CC, it's already selected. Data 1. Now it doesn't tell you what the data 1 and data 2 mean, so I had to work this out from trial and error. But luckily, I did this trial and error for you, so I know this works. Data 1 is the CC number, and data 2 is the value that it wants to send. Now, if you remember, to select scene 1, we had to select a value between 0 and 15. Now, 0 is between 0 and 15. So this should select scene 1. Yeah. Now you'll notice I've got both USB and MIDI selected. It's because I was testing it out before this video, right? But the USB doesn't work. I'm just going to turn it off just so you know I'm not sending it via USB. I'm sending it via MIDI. All right. So that's the setup for pedal 1. All right. Let's do pedal switch number 2. And if we go in and check the setup of that, you can see, again, I've got it set to channel 16. By the way, it's notable and interesting, and I think powerful that you can set a different channel for each foot switch. If you have a multi-keyboard layout, I can see how that would be massively beneficial. But one keyboard, one channel, that channel I happen to have chosen is 16. It's a CC type message that we know. We know that it's sending CC 92, and that's what we've put in data 1. And then data 2 says 16. And if you recall, according to the article, as long as we send anything between 16 and 31, that's going to select scene 2 for us. 16 is between 16 and 31. So this is done. Again, I'm going to turn the USB switch off. MIDI is left on though. And important to have the MIDI on, right? Because what you're doing by, I should have explained, having the MIDI on means that you're sending this message via old school 5-pin MIDI. Okay. I won't go through the rest other than to say they're set up. I'll show you very quickly how the separate foot switch is set up. Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to have to set one of these up, but looks like I might have lost that setup. Okay. So let's add it in. Okay. So we're going to add this dual foot switch. I don't know why it says MIDI, but I'm going to go and on group A for foot switch 5, I'm going to add a message. Let's go in there. Remember, we're using channel 16. Omni's there as an option. That's not too bad, but let's be good and put that to 16. The type of message is already selected at CC. Data, we know we want it to be 92. Remember, CC 92 is the one that we want. 92, yippee-ki-yay. And the value, right. So if we want to select scene 5, then we need a value that is between 64 and 79. My convention is to go to the beginning of that. So let's do that. And I'm going to put in 64. MIDI is switched on. This is good. Let's hit done. Let's go back, and while we're there, let's go to foot switch 6. Foot switch 6. I'm really having problems with that. And we're in group A. Let's add a controller option here. Again, make sure it's on channel 16. 16. It's already on CC. Remember that CC number needs to be 92. And according to the documentation, the value for scene 6 selection is anywhere between 80 and 95. Again, by convention, I'm just choosing the early part of that, the first number available, and that number is 80. Let's hit done. MIDI's on, which is great. Okay. Should work. Let's see. So if I want to test scene 1, I can select scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, wait for it, scene 5, and then scene 6. Oh, did you see what happened there? I had to press it more than once. And this is my beef. So the question is it because I've got it set up incorrectly? Or is it because the switch is a little bit dodgy? Is it because my cable's a little bit dodgy? But I do notice that I've got it set on mode of single. Maybe that's the problem. So I'm just going to do momentary, because the other ones said momentary, right? So I'll go to foot switch 5, set it to momentary, and then set this one to momentary also, and then save. Yeah. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay. 6, 5, 6, 5. See what happened? I hit the 6 and it didn't select. So it's not because of the setting that I had, right? Because now we know for sure it's on the momentary setting that everything else was on. So again, maybe one of the others, see, happened again, happened to be the 6 again. Now, I don't know if it's because, again, I don't know if there's a root cause for this, but I don't trust it. So I haven't implemented it. Now, you don't have to use Ampere foot switch. You could use, I don't know, one of those Boss foot pedals. You could use any foot pedal that you like. You might need to use some sort of adaptery Y-ish, like TS into TRS cable into the hot one. But this is why I haven't implemented 5 and 6. But you can see by extension how you'd also set it up for 7 and 8, right? Just rinse and repeat, follow the instructions, go to the YamahaSynth.com support page, and I'll put a link in so you can get to that. But that's how that works, right? I found the first 4 to be bulletproof when it's on the hot one, and I found these to be a little bit less so, as you've seen in this demo, right? Okay, that's it from me. Bye.